conversation, but like the anticipation is like...
Yeah, I know, it's a lot. It's a lot. Hey y'all, welcome to Whiz Babble. I am Whiz, and I am here with my good friend Summer Sando, right? Is that how I pronounce it?
Summer Sando.
She is here to get some dead ends cut off. I feel like the hair is a good start in life in general. We should do that with all things. Just putting that out there. But yeah, Summer, go ahead and let the people know who you are and what you're about.
My name is Summer Sando, and I help people lead them through joy, or leading through their healing into joy through massage, through touch, through body work, through dance. I've been teaching salsa and bachata for 22 years. 22 years. I've been a massage therapist for 20 years. Recently into facilitating breath work for about 2 years now, which I love. So all aspects of movement and touch and healing and joy and peace. That's it.
Yes, self-care, self-love. Summer is the lady to go to if you need a little bit of help, a little bit of facilitating of that. And I love that you do so many different types of things too, because, you know, some of us are really going to find that peace and that love in dance. That's a thing. And breath work, I think everybody should probably try some active breath work sometime.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, dance is not going to be everybody's thing. I know people, like, I don't know why they don't get massages, but, like, they just, it's not their thing, something about touch. But yeah, there's just so many different things that you do and ways that you help people.
And for me, I just need the variety as well. If I did one thing 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, like, I don't think I would be happy. So for me to have the variety in activities really is what is good for me.
Yeah, I love that. It works out, and it says a lot about, you know, your heart and your soul and your person and how much you have to give. And I appreciate you.
Hi, thank you.
I appreciate you because you give me a lot. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna cry. Because you give me a lot, and it's always my pleasure to be able to, you know, help you snip some of these dead ends off and do whatever the heck I can do as a hairstylist.
Yeah, absolutely. I love you in my space, just like your energy that you bring to my my breath work. Yeah, just your being in there as your experience and sharing your experience with others and just being in the same space of people healing together and holding space for each other is really helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It feels good. I love it.
Yeah, and even just thinking about this as a haircut and touch, like, that's the most relaxing feeling, is having somebody's fingers like just draw through your hair.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's something about the crown. There's something about playing with the crown, touching the crown that really, like, I've been told the crown chakra is how you get to all of the other chakras. And I believe it. That's why, like, during breath work, I tend to really mess with my head a lot and, like, my hair, and it kind of just helps that energy flow through a little better. And I feel the same with doing hair, and just, you know, just messing with people's heads and their hair, and it's really that deep. That's why, you know, you don't want everybody in your head, and that's literal, because, you know, people's energy will rub off on you, and you just want to make sure that it's safe.
Absolutely.
You think it's fair to say that, you know, we have, like, this responsibility to ourselves and others, really to others, because what we do is we help others. That, in a nutshell, in all of the industries, you know, and all of the things that you do with me doing hair, we help people. So do you think it's fair to say that we hold this responsibility to like, keep our cups full, per se, and put ourselves first and make sure that we're taken care of first in order to take care of others?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel that energy in before energy out is always my motto. That's why I have my mornings to myself. I need to feel complete. I need to feel like that I have energy to give others. Because when I was starting doing massage, like sometimes I would, like, you don't know when the next client will be. So I just said yes to everybody and everything. So maybe sometimes
Right.
I'd have like 5 or 6 massages. But imagine my energy from the first massage to like me being drained over the day and the last person charging the same amount of money, but then like they get a little less of my energy because I'm tired.
Yes.
Right? So I need to have my self cared for. That's like resting, that's eating healthy, that's moving, that's like feeling at peace in my body and like in my soul, to have the space and energy to give others, because that's what people come for. You know, like for me to be depleted as I'm putting my hands on someone's body, or for me to be depleted when I'm leading a class of 20 people in a dance class, like that is unfair to them, I'd say, when they're coming in for maybe their most important hour of the day, or their most look forward to, or their own self-care. If I'm not able to give that to them 100% of me, then like what am I even doing?
Yeah. No, totally. And even if you weren't so self-aware of that and conscious of it and did something about it, your business would probably reflect that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and for all the hairstylists out there, take a lunch break. Like, you need to replenish your energy. Our clients know we feel dead at the end of the day because it's probably rubbing off on them, even if we're making them look good. So, take a damn lunch break.
But even that, let's say if you keep a smile and you keep the energy for your whole day for your clients, what are you going home with?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
We literally just dissociate in the car for like 2 hours.
Yes, yes.
A lot of us will just sit here at the end of the day. Yeah, give everything, put on a smile, and then just sit here like.
And then you go home to your kids and you go home to your spouse, and then you're irritated and grumpy, and they don't deserve that either.
No, they don't deserve that either. Nobody deserves it. I love that you said energy in before energy out. That's huge. And that's a huge business thing too. It's almost like you want more money coming in than you have going out. Energy too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring up business because any business class that I have taken as a professional, they don't talk about numbers and money. They talk about taking care of yourself. That is like the secret to success on all levels. So it's important, even if you aren't in an industry where you are taking care of others, but it really is a responsibility if you are.
Especially like us, when we are guiding and being led by ourselves. There's no boss, there's no structure beyond what we put into our business. So like for us to have the energy to maintain our own business and like keep that flow going, we have to take care of ourselves, because we're the boss, we're the employee, we're everything.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta figure it out. It does take time, I feel like, to figure that out, to even recognize how important what we are doing is. The whole thing of energy and what we need and what others need. It takes a while to figure that out, and it takes a while to figure out how you're gonna go ahead and adjust your life for that to be better. It's like a whole lifestyle change.
Absolutely. And yeah, it does take time. Like I've been in massage and dance for 20 plus years, but in the beginning, it was like, let me do everything and give everything.
Yeah.
It has taken that long. Or maybe it's just like not only maturity in business, but just maturity in age, and knowing that my energy is sacred, and I've got to not only protect it for myself, but for my clients, like the people I bring into my breathwork circles or into my dance classes. Like I'm also protective of them. It's like I'm nurturing and mothering them.
Yes.
To keep everyone in a healthy space.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very protective of this chair. Like I won't just work with anybody. And when I say that, I pretty much just discriminate against assholes. I'm gonna say it. Just like the negative energy, like the yuckiness, the ick. I don't want that in this chair, because it really does, you might leave a little bit energy in the chair, and then what's going to happen to the next person that sits here? Is it safe or not? Yeah, I'm huge on that. Yeah. So
same with dance class. My dance motto is no egos, no assholes. Like you come into class, you're humble, you're helpful, you're friendly, you're kind. Because we're touching other people. Like in salsa, you're learning with other people. You're in front of somebody else. You're in front of a human being, not just a random body. Somebody who's had difficulties during their day, and they might need a smile instead of your ugly attitude.
Yeah. It's, man, it the self-awareness that people need to have in general, and just like that responsibility of your attitude and your energy whenever you are among the masses or you're around big groups is huge. So was there like a point, a certain time in life, something that happened that kind of got you to realize that you needed to start taking care of your own energy and your own well-being first before you gave it to others?
Maybe not a specific incidents. I know that when I was pregnant, I was a surrogate for somebody in 2019, but that's when I that's when I allowed myself to give 100% to this big responsibility.
Yeah.
Right. So I took 100% care of my sleep, my nutrition, all my habits, everybody who came around me, everything I took in, digested, whether like reading or news or any associations with other people. Like it had to be like 100% healthy. So I think that's where now I just turned it into myself. Like I am caretaking myself, that way I can caretake other people. So it started with a being in my belly, but that turned into like, I should be doing this for myself all the time.
Yeah, I think motherhood, whether you're a surrogate and it's only for the time of growing that child, which is, I don't know, it might be the hardest time. I really do think that carrying a child and giving birth is the hardest to set you up for like raising the child. So
also you do need support in that time, I think.
Oh yeah, like and all the times whenever
Always.
You're like trying to put yourself first and loving yourself, like I'm very appreciative for the individuals in my life right now, because if like they support me wherever I'm at and whatever I need to do for myself, and vice versa, and that support is everything. If you don't have people around you to support you putting yourself first and doing what you got to do for yourself, and taking the time to rest and giving like that person grace to rest, and giving them grace when they feel like they need to really put in work, whatever it is, like just really holding that space for people whenever they are, especially trying to do the best for themselves and others in return, is huge.
Yeah.
And I think putting yourself first, especially for women, or maybe just everybody in general, like becoming a parent is huge, or motherhood in general is big. Like that's definitely when I started to think about it more too.
And definitely it's a different situation for myself. Like I almost feel guilty sometimes in that I don't have children that are taking my time. I do have the extra time for myself. I can go for a 3-hour run in the mountains or in the desert and not have to worry about childcare or picking somebody up or a sick kid. Like I have that where I know that those with children or other people they're taking care of, that can be a sick parent or an aging parent, like that is such difficult work. And it is necessary. And it might only be like, okay, I can close my eyes on the couch for 3 minutes and take a couple deep breaths. But that 3 minutes is something so sacred and so special when you have like a whole day of caring for other people. Like even as simple as that, even as simple as like, let me accept a meal from somebody instead of having to cook everything and like do everything and be everything for everybody. And I know that my life is a bit different from others in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, and that's beautiful. Don't feel guilty, just appreciate it. Because that's awesome. I love that. I love that for people, and I love that for myself before I had kids. Like, it's a beautiful thing.
And definitely it's a different trade-off. Like, you've got the beauty and experience and memories of children and, like, seeing them like develop into these little people. Like
Yeah.
that's something I won't experience.
Yeah, it is definitely a different trade-off. I think about that a lot, especially with not just like surrogacy and stuff, but like absent parents. That pops into my head a lot. Like sometimes I have the really honestly the shitty mindset of like, oh, it must be nice, and it's like, no, I feel bad for you because I really am the one like reaping those benefits. So I totally understand what you're saying, but I am just talking about absent parents right now in that sense. But yeah, I think you said something right now along the lines of accepting a meal from somebody. So I think what's big in that is the acceptance. Me in general, not just a single mom and a business owner and all these things that I have to take care of a lot of things for all by myself. And I'm probably set up like that in life because I am naturally this person, or maybe from trauma, I don't know, whatever. I am this person that I'm like hyper independent. And it is freaking hard for me to accept help from others. I could be dying carrying all the groceries inside at one time, and a neighbor will be like, hey, you want a hand? And most of the time I will say no.
Nope, I got it.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Now I'll just say, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. I'll take that. Thank you so much. Because there's sometimes you're struggling and there's not help.
And I think it is maybe for some people with that same mentality, it could be a trauma response for sure. Of like, I've never had anybody, not me, but like if this person, like they've never had
in general,
anybody who didn't just do things because they wanted to do things. Like there is always strings attached. There is always, oh, I got you. Oh, you owe me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you owe me. That's big.
Like everything's been transactional relationships instead of like true, like I want to care for you because I care for you, not because I need something from you or want something for you or because I need you to owe me a favor.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's deep on the independent level for sure. Like,
and I feel like
happens.
when you say yes to things that are offered, like more things come your way.
Yeah, because you're receiving it, you're open to it. That door isn't shut, you know. Yeah, when you say no, it's like just shutting a door.
Yeah, it's like the universe is offering you a special gift, and the more you say no to it, then like the less you'll receive of it. Why not open that door and keep it flowing?
Yeah. We're back. Post haircut. Okay, so we have talked about, you know, just keeping your cup full is needed in life, and especially if you're in some sort of like self-care industry, you're taking care of people, you're tending to people. Work on keeping your cup full and make sure that you're really taking care of yourself before you try to take care of anybody else.
I think in the self-care industry, like you are the example of that. So if you're not doing it for yourself, I feel like you're out of integrity with your whole profession.
Yes, absolutely.
Because like if this is the guidance you're giving to other people, but in fact you're staying up drinking, you're not sleeping well, you're arguing with your spouse, like you're not taking care of yourself, you're depleted, I think you're completely out of integrity with what your product is. If self-care is your product, if wellness is your product, if healing and joy is your product, and you're not living that, you're not who you.
Absolutely. I definitely, like all the people that take care of me on some sort of level, I tend to like to check in with y'all. I know what you do though. I've never asked you because I know you're doing it. You can kind of tell like when any kind of self-care professional, when you're talking to them about something or you're going through something and it's appropriate within whatever you're doing, right? Within the service for this to happen, and then that professional starts to break down too, you're like, oh shit. Like they're not, they probably shouldn't be at work today, you know? And I've said this a lot, anytime that I'm not feeling up to par in my energy or my mental health, whatever, I will let my clients know. I do always come to work though, because there is just something about taking care of people and doing their hair and making them feel better that really does a lot for me too.
Yeah.
So I usually get out of the funk within that first client, but I always let them know, and I ask if that's okay. Because if I don't, I have just kind of let it slide and kept my mouth shut and tried to be okay. while I was working, my clients pick up on it immediately.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's just the nature of like hairstylist client, we're in each other's business a little bit. And so they're in my business immediately, like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like,
Yeah.
And then they're kind of like worried, which really shouldn't be the case. If anything, you know, it's my job to be here for people and maybe not worry about them. But if there is some troublesome anything, it's in the chair. Like, this is a safe space for you to be. And I think that, yeah, it's a safe space. So if you are taking care of people in any kind of way, you really want to make sure that you're holding space for them, but you're holding a safe space. And that entails taking care of your own stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because when your stuff comes up, when you're there to support them and hold space for them, and they're sharing a story, but you're off in your own mental like story of what's going on in your life, then you're not truly 100% present with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that depletes the service, right?
Yes. Yes. Just in general, as a professional, I have like this like shield on a little bit when it comes to myself and my personal stuff, because we do all go through it. But just talking about when I have bad days and how I deal with it, I want to kind of go into when your cup isn't full, what that looks like, feels like, and how, you know, how you should treat yourself whenever whenever your cup is empty. How do you go about yourself whenever it's empty?
Whenever I just feel like I'm breaking down and I can't get anything done, or like I just want to cry all the time, that's when I know like I need to give myself some space.
Yeah, you're done.
I'm done. Yeah, I need to go for a walk. I need to feel it all out. I need to just lay in bed and cry for a moment, and that's okay. And like in the past, it might have been for me as like hustle, get things done, discipline of like almost a weakness. But I've come to like really embrace it and like love the softness of that in me and letting it happen. Because I don't have to be like super disciplined all the time. I see it more of a devotion to all of my being, and that's a devotion to my hustle, a devotion to my discipline, but also a devotion to the softness and the rest and the quiet times.
Yes.
Like I need that, and I need to accept that and be like, okay, you know what? I'm training for this race, but I'm not gonna run today. And I'm just gonna lay in bed, and it can even be like, okay, I might have a healthy meal, but you know what? I might just have a burger and fries, and that might be like what I need.
Yeah.
You know? It doesn't have to be like incredibly well prepared and well made. It's like, what do I need now? What's gonna comfort and nurture me now? And that could be, I just need a hug, or I need someone else to do the dishes, or I need to not make my bed today, or I need to like, let me look at my finances. Because also I think that's self-care. If you're just like spending on random things that don't support your wellness,
that can be a problem. I have a problem with that, and I know I do. So yeah. I'm very, I try to be very conscious of whenever I'm spending. But when you are spending a lot as a form of self-care, and you spend a certain amount of money, and it kind of gets you off, and there's a number that you get to that makes you feel better, that's like a drug, like with anything else. So like, of course, you know, it's it may not be bad for your health if you have a budget for it and all that stuff. But if you do like deal with that, anybody, make sure you're looking into that.
I think it's important to know what your thing is.
Yes.
Like where do I go when I'm not feeling great? Is that spending? Is that overeating? Is that drugs? Is that alcohol?
Yeah.
Is that like doing bad things to harm yourself? Like, what is your thing?
Yeah.
So you know, like, oh, I'm thinking of this, or I'm leaning towards that. So now I gotta check and like what is not going well in my life that I need to fix.
And sometimes we got different things. I don't necessarily struggle with alcohol, but when I want to go out and get drunk, I'm not okay.
Yeah. When that's your focus, is like, I'm gonna go out and get drunk.
Yeah. No. I wanna let go of my mind, and I wanna suppress this anxiety, and I wanna do, like, when that's your goal. Yeah. No. When that's my goal, I'm not okay, and I will be like, maybe I should lay in bed and cry a little bit. Yeah. Maybe I should check in.
I just need to like drive and like yell in my car. Like, what is this?
Or get my hair done.
Or get my hair done. Or talk to somebody.
Sometimes that's all it takes. I know, like, tattoos are a big thing too. You know, maybe if that's in your budget and everything. So I know everything can be a problem. Really, everything can be an issue, an addiction. So whatever it is, just make sure that you're checking in. And figuring it out is the biggest, because once you know that it's correlated with your cup being empty, with bad mental health, you're just done, you're not feeling good, then you can say, oh, okay, that's where I'm at. Because life happens, and it happens fast, and sometimes it just happens and you're like, how did we get here? Oh my goodness, I've been feeling like this. I've actually been feeling like this for weeks. Like, something needs to happen. And slowing down and rest is amazing. And like you were saying, like, it takes discipline to have rest, especially if you are like a go-getter and a hustler, for sure.
It also takes a deep belief that everything will be okay. Because I think when you're in this, like, I have to get it done, it's like this scarcity mentality of like, if I don't do it now, like, I'm going to lose clients, I'm going to lose money, I'm going to like be in this hole. But you have to have trust that everything's going to turn out okay. And sometimes that takes a while to get past that mental block of not trusting. But when you do trust and you like get some rest, then you have the energy to come back to your clients. You have the energy to keep marketing yourself. You have the energy to give.
Yeah.
But it does take some trust, because in the beginning, like, I was like, okay, where's I don't have anyone giving me a paycheck, like, weekly, monthly, whatever. Like, I'm on this on my own.
You gotta go get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. I totally get that. Yeah, no, I've been there in my career. I'm thankful I'm not there anymore. But I've totally been there where it's like, I will do your hair anytime, anywhere. Just hit me up. I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
In your house at midnight. That's okay. No.
Yeah, I've definitely done all of that. And no, it's not okay. But it takes time. It takes discipline. It takes, learning to love and trust yourself. Yeah. That it's gonna be okay. That you're gonna be okay. And then when you start doing it, you might be so burnt out that you rest and you take a break from work or whatever for a long time because you need it, and then maybe you go back and maybe things are slower. So then you're like, okay, let me do this often, just as often as I hustle. Let me take breaks and rest. And I just like, I am thankful that I am like in that space now within my career. I do not work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and that's it. I do not work. And I work 9 to 5, Wednesday through Saturday, and that's it. If somebody else... Okay, y'all, it's important to put yourself first. Make sure your cup's full so your battery doesn't die like the camera's battery just did. We're back again. So we were talking about like some forms of self-care, whether it's just giving yourself a few minutes, and we talked about moms maybe not having that time. Well, we might take a shower. We might take a shower and lock the door and just let them do whatever in the house, if it's safe, if the kids are age appropriate, whatever. We might do that, and that is a form of self-care. Just shutting something off or asking for a sitter so we can go do our own thing. Getting your hair done, getting your nails done, getting a massage, taking a dance class, a breathwork class, making time. I feel like that all revolves around making time for yourself in whatever way you need to be. If you need to hustle, if you need to rest, whatever you need to pay attention to, tap in with yourself. Sit down in a quiet space and what feels like what,
Yeah, and like I feel it's what brings you joy or what brings you peace. Like that should be your self-care.
Yeah.
If
What do you like to do outside of the things that you do for work, like dancing and breath work and massage and stuff? What other things do you like to do for self-care?
Well, I've had to, like, even though I'm a massage therapist, like I've had to schedule out my massages on a regular basis, because sometimes I get in the place where I need a massage now and I can't go to a practitioner and be like, hey, put me on, like, I'm coming right now.
Yeah.
Make sure you have space for me. No, like, I have to be on someone's schedule, but also that's for me. It's like, okay, I know every 2 weeks I'm gonna get a massage. But my self-care is simple. Like, it could be of just reading a book or being out in nature or journaling. And that can be journaling of like, this shit's going on, or it could be journaling of like, these are the amazing things I want for myself. And sitting in silence, especially when the world is just so chaotic. There's cars and people and noise and noise and noise and noise. Like, do you ever just have time to just sit with your thoughts, or sit with silence, or sit in quiet? Like, that is self-care.
Yeah.
Preparing yourself a good meal, like buying good ingredients, like making the time to like prepare it for yourself, and sitting without electronics, without distraction of like, okay, let me enjoy this beautiful piece of artwork on my plate that I created. Or like, do I need a hug, or can I have a conversation with a friend who can genuinely listen, like who has the capacity to hear me and not try to fix things or like respond or like talk about themselves. Like, are you available to just listen to me for a moment? That's self-care. Is helping those friends, but also being a friend. I think you also feel good when you can be a support to somebody else too.
Yeah, because I think that's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Me and my friends who are able to do that with each other, it goes both ways, and it just wouldn't happen, I don't think, if it was one-sided.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of relationships that were one-sided like that, and they just always end because somebody is very
needy or like expecting, and can't reciprocate and give back that same love.
Yeah.
But I'm very fortunate that both my parents, now I see it, of like having their own self-care practice of like, my dad used to run. My dad would sit in the garage and do his artwork, or just like do his crossword puzzles or read a book. Like, my mom would go for a walk. She'd have a journaling practice. She'd read. She'd just like be in prayer. Like, they have their own time and space and like self-care that I didn't realize that was that at the time, but like seeing it and having that example, I think definitely set me up in a good spot for me to be like, oh, it's okay to like be alone. It's okay for me to ask for time. It's okay for me to ask for space. It's okay for me to like give to myself before giving to anybody else.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, of course, it could be like body work modalities, acupuncture, massage, all that touch. It could be dance, it could be movement, it could be yoga, it could be any type of joyful movement. And like, it should be joyful. Like, if, yes, being healthy and exercising or working out or going to the gym could be self-care, but is it self-care because you're punishing yourself? Or it's not care if you're punishing yourself?
Right. Is
it something you generally like are joyful doing, or like you feel good afterwards, or you feel accomplished? Like, you shouldn't have to punish yourself and make yourself do something because society or your boyfriend or somebody else says it's right for you. Like, does it feel right for you?
I feel like self-care, self-love takes so much self-awareness. Like, really just tapping in and knowing what's going on. And yeah, sometimes self-care can be, like, for me, my whole life is scheduled. I'm a planner. A lot of my self-care is scheduled. I do certain things once a month. I book a certain amount of vacations for myself, just myself, and then for me and my family. Everything is scheduled. So sometimes self-care is really not having any plans for just a day. And like, that's what I need to get back to it. And that comes up when it comes up. And I handle that when it comes up, and I make the time for that. Sometimes like the only thing on my to-do list is not to do anything at all.
You know, it's nice to have those days. It's nice to give myself those days, because sometimes I love everything I do, like everything. So like, I schedule things and I realize like, oh, I haven't had like a full day off in like 87 days.
Yeah.
Even if it's like one massage, even if it's just 1 hour for the day, I'm like, oh, but I still have to mentally get out of my space to go into like work mode.
You still worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like, it's hard for me to give myself like Monday off, Tuesday, like, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off completely. No, nothing. Where I'm like, oh, I kind of want to work today. Who wants a massage? Like, because yes, giving and service and like that also is my self-care. So it's hard to have that line of I'm not working, because for me work is also fun and joy and like, I don't know.
I feel like that is you honoring yourself and loving yourself and taking care of yourself, working in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
That is what works best for
Yeah.
you, and you're honoring that. And my Wednesday through Saturday 9 to 5 schedule is me honoring myself and what works best for me.
And everyone's different. Absolutely,
Exactly.
everyone's different. What's your astrological sign?
I'm a Libra.
Okay.
Or opposites.
Do you know your yeah.
Yeah.
Aries? Do you know your other your moon or your rising sign?
Yeah, I'm a Sag moon.
Okay.
Well, I'm a little fiery ass Libra. I'm a little intense Libra. And then my rising is Pisces.
Okay. You're a softie too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
Wait, yeah, I fight that a lot.
Yeah. Gosh.
My the Capricorn women in my life have taught me not to be too nice and too soft. Yeah, because I've laid down and just I've laid down and let everybody take whatever from me, and I have chose to try to be, selfless and put everybody first, and it has gotten me, an empty cup on the worst levels, in the worst sense. That empty cup can look like some scary things.
Yeah.
And I've been there, and I fight for that. It's still there though, and and sometimes my self-care, self-love is allowing me to be myself whenever it's safe to be that soft, because it's not always safe, and that's just what I've learned.
Yeah.
And to guard myself and to stick up for myself and be there for myself whenever it's not safe. So yeah, that is huge.
And that is definitely.
What's yours? What's your stuff? I don't know about this, so you're gonna have to tell me what your signs are and what that means.
I'm a Aries sun. April 15th, that's my birthday. I'm a Capricorn moon. So like that would be my own discipline and structure and like business sense and like that mentality. And also Sagittarius rising, so you get the party, the playful, the adventure.
I feel like that's why you could have the schedule you do to where you're like, I feel like doing massage day, who wants one? And then people will want them.
My Aries and my Sagittarius are rebellious against the Capricorn, like the disciplinarian. It's like, no, I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do it and in the way I want to do it. And sometimes that gets me into a lot of trouble because it can be impulsive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think when you learn the impulse enough, there's just a safe space for it. Like I was talking earlier about, me shopping might be a little bit of a problem because I know a certain dollar amount of splurging will make me feel better, and that's not healthy if I'm just doing it for that. But you know what? There are times when it's just in the budget, and I will allow myself to indulge in that feeling and that splurge because I can do it because it's safe.
Yeah.
So just like learning yourself and having that self-awareness and learning when things are safe and when they're not, and boundaries and
all that is like just understanding your nervous system and like the capacity that you can hold. Like for some people, like spending money at a restaurant is stressful because like, okay, do I have enough money for an appetizer and an entree? Or for some people it's like it feels like abundance because I can get whatever I want. Like that, it depends on how, like, your upbringing, your trauma, your past references, your past memories and experiences of how safe this feels. And even if it's just a meal to somebody, going out to a restaurant is two different experiences and emotional responses for two different people.
Yes. Yeah. No, learning about the nervous system in general has helped me so much with my self-awareness and my self-care, understanding myself really, and others too, like understanding why it's so different. Everything is so different for so many people, for everybody. We're all just so different in how we feel about things and why, and so checking in with your nervous system and understanding that is huge. And I want to also talk about the difference between selfishness and putting yourself first. Do you think that one can be the other, that they're just completely different?
I think it depends on the intention. I think there's always a negative connotation to selfishness.
Yeah.
However, taking time to yourself can be seen as selfish because you're not caring for others. But I think that is necessary in order to care for others. So is it being selfish to take time for yourself, or is it actually being selfless because now I can fill my cup in order to give more? Where selfish, I think, is more of the intention of me, only me, all that matters is me, I come first in everything, me.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's the definition of being selfish. But, like you said, in those moments of putting yourself first, is that it? Or is there an intention behind it to where I need to fill my cup so that I am able to give or hold space for others when the time comes?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that, like, when it's meant for you to become a happier, calm, joyful being, if that's the intention is for you to be like a better person for yourself, then that emanates to those around you. So it's good for you to have that time for yourself, because who you interact with will have a better experience with you.
Yeah.
That can be your clients, that can be your kids, that can be the clerk in the grocery store. You know, like if you're overall settled and like calm and peaceful and happy, then the whole world benefits from it.
Yeah.
Like your whole space benefits from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so selfishness versus putting yourself first. I feel like you can be selfish, only care about yourself, and put yourself first all the time with no other intention, and then that's just being selfish. That's selfishness. But if you are, if you're putting yourself first so you can fill your cup and hold space and be there for others when the time comes, then that intention behind it isn't selfish, but can be taken for that. So everybody who thinks that's selfish, know the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's the opposite end, selflessness, and that versus self-abandonment, the difference. What is true selflessness? Is it moments? Is it who you are all the time? If it is all the time, what can it do? Like, what does selflessness mean to you?
I think it comes up. I think it should come up randomly, because if you're seeking to seem selfless to other people, or if people seeing you as selfless all the time, that could lead to self-abandonment, or that could lead to like people pleasing.
Yeah.
And why do we do that sometimes? It's not like, is your intention truly to help people, or not to have conversation, not to have conflict, not for people to be mad at you, to like really keep the peace? Is that your intention? Because then that's also selfish.
Yeah.
It's selfish and like, okay, I don't want to cause disturbance, so I feel calm and safe, or I feel secure and protected. But and that is also self-abandonment when you're giving too much. And I've been through that, like in a prior relationship of like, let me do everything for you so you don't have, and it could be, let me do all this so you won't want to leave me. That can be selfish.
Yes.
Yeah, but also that's abandoning yourself. Okay, like you might disconnect from your hobbies, you might disconnect from your joy, you might disconnect from your people, your friends, your community, your things that like give you life, in order to just give to this one person. Well, like a codependent situation.
Yeah, you're disconnecting from tapping in with yourself, and even caring about what you need or what you want to do. You're just so focused on the other person, so that you can, and the crazy thing is, you're focused on the other person so you can feel some type of way to protect your own emotions, to feel good, and I don't know if that's even possible. I think that's probably why the people pleasing and the self-abandonment in general just never goes well for anybody, because I don't believe you can do things to make other people change. Really. I think that's a them thing.
But then it turns into them maybe taking advantage of that because they know you're a kind person.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll say yes so you can feel loved and be thought of as this kind person, and for them to be in your lives. And yeah, it's definitely a slippery slope going into that people-pleasing, self-abandonment, and not really protecting yourself. Because that can be deeply taken advantage of.
Yeah, for me personally, that's definitely how I was. I really just have this like delusional concept of, oh, I love people, so I'm gonna put everybody else first. I'll put myself last, and that's that selflessness thing, and that's love and all this stuff, and it really only just led me to people taking advantage of it to the point where I'm so low, cup so empty, just so done. I can't even deal with the whole situation.
Then you're resentful.
And I literally will just like ghost and walk away. There have been plenty of relationships in my young life that have just ended, and there's a sadness in that, because I do to this day love those people and care about them, but I have got to take responsibility for where I let that lead.
Yeah.
And maybe the people they are, it would never go anywhere else, but
you gave away yourself to make it work, but then you stepped away, and you were seen almost like you were the bad guy because you broke it off, but you also led yourself away. So it is a lot of personal responsibility and understanding that.
Yeah. It's, I let it get that far. And that's just the difference between me then and me now, is the self-reflection and the boundaries and the accountability. Like, I never took accountability for those things. You just think, oh, I'm selfless, I'm a good person.
I'm doing the right thing.
I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. So that makes them the bad person, and they're doing the wrong thing.
And what is there for me to take accountability for when I'm being hurt and stuff? Mm-hmm. Putting yourself in that situation in the first place, we'll start there, because that's where I started. Mm-hmm. I was like, wait a minute. It's been some years. And every relationship, friendship, intimate relationship, whatever, every relationship keeps going this way. Mm-hmm. What am I doing? Mm-hmm. What am I allowing to... Look, okay, if I'm not doing anything intentionally to hurt people or whatever, if I'm not doing that, why am I putting myself in these situations with people who are? What am I...
And that comes back to the self-love and the self-care, because I wouldn't have chose that person for me if I was in that fully self-worthy, self-care, self-love space.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of love and care for yourself to go into those like introspective depths of conversation and awareness in yourself of like, oh, this is what I did to bring that on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think going deep is a great place to love yourself, of like, oh, but that's where I was at that time, and I forgive me for being in that and letting that happen. But now I learned from that. Let me move forward.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level of self-love, self-reflection, is when you do change for the better and you start putting yourself first and loving yourself, forgiving yourself for just not knowing any better then, and giving some appreciation and being grateful for those moments that taught you better.
Yeah.
Because I needed them, I do hold a lot of grace for myself and who I used to be, and love and appreciation for the times that I needed, unfortunately. But I needed them, and they brought me to a great place. And I'm very thankful for myself for choosing the great place, because it could have just kept getting worse.
Absolutely.
And I'm thankful for therapy. Because that's how I got here. I needed professional help.
But I also feel like as service providers, as caretakers of others, this is important for us to be aware of that, because when I understood my space and my responsibility for the things I went through, but also having forgiveness and love for that summer in that moment, that younger summer that went through these or caused these or made these choices or had these impulses, that gives me more empathy to my clients or to people in my space of like, I have some understanding of what they're feeling or what they went through or how they're beating themselves up or how like their thought process might be, because I went to the depths of understanding that in myself of like, they also need a space holder or a caretaker or a service provider who also has empathy, because we have conversations with people. I have people on my table who are in this vulnerable position, whether they're there for an injury or whether they're there because they haven't been touched in years, or whether they're there because they're processing something and releasing something. Like, they need to have a care provider who has the heart and the capacity to love them in that moment and be there with the moment, because we've already gone through shit ourselves.
Yes, and I do feel this sense of you attract what you exude, so you attract that clientele of what you're exuding, and I feel like it's a beautiful thing whenever, yeah, you are ready for that bad day that the person's having. I mean, it has happened where, I haven't been ready for things, and I just try to handle it with the most, with the utmost love and compassion that I can have, and consideration for all things being, because if I don't understand it, but it's happening and the person is feeling like crap, I really do feel this responsibility to make them feel better. Even if maybe we're just going to have to focus on how beautiful your hair looks right now. Like how great that's making you feel. But let me not say something to make this worse.
Yeah.
That's all I know. Let me not say anything to judge you and to judge you. I feel like that's huge, to hold that space and that compassion. And it helps whenever you have an understanding of it because you've been through it yourself. And luckily, I feel like, for the most part, the majority of us, we do receive people that we understand. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's just like the beauty of the universe and people, attracting what they exude.
Yeah.
And that goes into self-love and self-care, you know what I mean? Like, if you would like to be around people who love you, they definitely need to love themselves first. So you gotta love yourself first in order to attract those individuals.
And sometimes that's a big, long, deep process.
It is. I think it always is. I don't know anybody, not one person, where even that process ends and they're just enlightened by the end of their lifetime, really. But to get to a space where the doors open, I think is always a long process. This is life, and we're here to learn and we're here to go through things, and it takes a long time to do that, to unpack and to deal with it, to be ready to deal with it. But I feel like grace is everything in allowing yourself to do so.
Absolutely.
I have definitely beat myself up when my cup was empty before, like that was gonna do anything. Like, I'm already on the ground, like why am I beating myself up more? It just makes it worse, and then I go into this spiraling depression, anxiety thing. When I started to allow myself to give myself grace and to receive it from others too, it got immensely better just immediately. All the weight was taken off, and I know for raising my kids, in order to raise them to be their best or help them to be better in any situation in life, I've got to hold that grace, because as soon as I put that judgment on them and that harshness, that hardness, that heaviness, it makes it 10 times worse.
Absolutely.
And whenever I show them grace, it makes it 10 times better. And that goes for myself too. I've learned that. So I think grace is key. Grace and trust and self-reflection, I feel like, has just come up so much in this conversation when it comes to filling your cup. I feel very full right now, so thank you for that. Anytime I'm around you, thank you for that. This conversation, I just feel very satisfied with the full circle moments that we've had in this conversation and the conclusion that I've come to just today when it comes to this.
Yeah. Well, I feel like all interactions and all conversations and all connections day to day are meant to happen.
Yes, they are. And they're a blessing.
Yeah, I feel overall complete and comfortable, and feel like I have a full, deep body breath of fullness and love and joy.
Yes, good.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna end it on that note. That's beautiful. Thank you guys for listening to us babble. Thank you again for being here. And may y'all choose yourself, put yourself first, and fill your cup. May your cup be full. Thank you. That was beautiful.